Oh, this is the beginning. I'll put my hat on.
No, that's what you do. All right, how's everybody doing out there tonight? I've got a real special guest on the podcast tonight. I'm really looking forward to this podcast. Been trying to get him for a long time, and he definitely needs to be known in the no control zone. And I have known this man, Rene, since 2013, I think it was, through his pool, and that's how eventually the no control zone ended up happening. Is just basically copied Rene's style. However, Rene's league is taking a different approach than the one we've kept the old format from the West Coast Hockey League. And I actually had to ask Rene how to pronounce his last name tonight after knowing him for 8 years, because I knew I had to introduce him. So I'm going to take my best shot out of here, and I'm still not even sure I'm going to get it right. But I would like to welcome three-time champ, once with the Chilliwack Chiefs, twice with the Harrison Lakers of the no control zone, Rene Pukitis.
Oh my God, Terry, you did it.
Yes.
That was awesome, man. You're the man. Can I ask you, how do you pronounce your last name? Kinney or Kilkenny or Kenny or?
It was actually,
I don't know.
It was actually O'Kenny. We dropped the O.
Ah, very, very interesting. Okay.
Yeah. We the Irish.
That might be great on St. Patrick's Day. Eh? Like, why, do you bring it back for that, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I think did you ever watch the movie Blazing Saddles?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember the part where they were going to rebuild the town there and they said, finally, the guy he goes, well, if these people are going to help us out, you got to give them a place in the town. And the guy, they mull it over and they go, all right, God damn it, we'll take the niggers and we'll take the Chinks, but God damn it, we won't take the Irish.
I don't know, man. I never knew you had like O'Kenny. That's very exciting. That's great new news. So I mean, that's awesome.
My first wife was O'Denty, and they dropped their O as well. So
wow.
Yeah. So my
Who
son
knew? Who knew?
The old son is outright Irish. He's
fantastic, man.
He's the Kenny. Yeah. So let's find out a little bit about you, Rene. Obviously, I'm going to say you're from Harrison Hot Springs.
Yeah, who knows where Harrison Hot Springs is? That's a good question, actually. Question of the week. You do. You drive by it sometimes or whatever. So we got a lot of guys here all over the map in this pool. But yeah, just 2 hours east of Vancouver. So Fraser Valley.
Yeah. It's quite a beautiful area. I've been there before, and unfortunately, on my bike trips, Rene is it's either at the very start of my trip when I'm all excited to get some miles under my tires, and either that or I'm on the way back trying to catch the ferry, and it's like I'm always a go. So, but one of these times I will drop in now that I'm retired. I'm thinking of actually hopping on the bike maybe in a month or so, going up, and I'm gonna take my time because I'm retired. I've got no timeline constraints anymore, so maybe
must be nice. Must be nice, man.
It's beautiful.
But you know what? You've earned it too, right? So
I have, but yeah, I'm going through a lot of pain right now, though. That's the hardest part, but I get it compensated very well by the military, so thank them. And yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out also to Ryan Kelly, who's on a plane right now to Egypt, going over for a deployment. So Ryan, keep your head low. We'll be thinking of you while you're there. Take her easy, buddy.
Absolutely, Terry. And on that point, one thing I did want to bring up is that, in the pool, we got a lot of military guys, like, obviously all the guys in the pool and stuff like that. So yeah. I just want to personally say, thank you to all the members and stuff, all the guys that are involved with that and things. And it's absolutely fantastic. And, you think about this hockey pool and stuff, and we all get excited, and so-and-so scores or doesn't score and all that. And at the end of the day, it's just like for fun and something to do. Right. So, and, a passion for hockey, but the military guys, like Ryan, hey, Godspeed and stuff, and hope everything goes well. And it's obviously serious business. And I just want to personally say thank you to all the guys that participated that and all that, and very much appreciated. So it's very awesome to be involved with a group of individuals, and a number of them that are involved with things like that. So thanks a lot.
That's really nice of you to say, Renee. And I know each and every one of us will all appreciate that. Probably everybody except for Dono of the East Coast Brewers. He went to Afghanistan because
Dono, why not
well,
Dono?
because he went to Afghanistan and he quit, said couldn't take it, so he joined the RCMP instead. A nice, easy life.
Oh, I get it. Maybe it was the uniform. Maybe does he wear the hat and all that? Does he
You
do
know
a musical
what?
ride? Or
I actually never seen Dono post a uniform picture of him in the RCMP. So maybe he's just bullshitting. Maybe he's not even.
Well, maybe he can post one at the forum. That'd be awesome. Yeah, like I mean,
I think so. I think so. I'd like to see if he looks intimidating or not. While I don't know. I guess he writes tickets.
Here in Harrison at Canada Day, we have a couple of Mounties come out and stuff for the festivities. Maybe he can come out and help us out and stuff and cut the cake and all that. Right?
I want a pair of those pants. I want a pair of those dress pants.
Why? Because they're a little baggier on the side there. Those boots are pretty awesome, I think. But anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's find a little more out about you, Renee. What do you do for a living?
Well, I work at Remex. It's a manufacturing company, local here in BC. It's a family-owned business. They've been in business for about 45 years now, and they have a niche product. They manufacture wheels and rims primarily for mining trucks, if you can imagine.
Oh, wow.
So if you're in a mining company and you look at those mines and stuff, those big, huge haulers and stuff like that. So the big tires and all that, the rims that are holding the tires, we make those. And they ship them all over the world, 5, 6 continents, stuff like that. And so I plan the production actually for a couple of facilities. So for about 150 guys or so, welders, fabricators, stuff like that. And so and for me, it's kind of good because it's close by here in Harrison. So it's an 8-minute scooter ride from Harrison. So
that's
it's
nice.
pretty good.
So basically, where are you from? Where were you born?
Well, I was born back east in Ontario, in Toronto. So I spent my very youth in Ontario and things. But I will say that I've lived in British Columbia now more years than I have in Ontario. So I consider myself a British Columbian. But I grew up cheering for the Leafs and stuff like that. And now I've migrated over to the home team here, which is not exactly COVID friendly right now, but
we all applaud you for leaving the Leafs. I left the Leafs too. I was they were my favorite team in 1967. I was a Leaf fan for 1 year, and they won the cup. And then they traded Frank Mahovlich, and I said, "Screw you guys, I'm out of here."
Remember the show, The Beachcombers, Terry?
I do indeed. Gibson, Seashells,
Bruno Gerussi and all that. So I mean, my parents was watching that show, man, in Ontario, and they're like, this place is awesome. Let's go. Like check it out and all that. And then we went on a couple of family vacations, and one of them happened to be in 82. And
oh my God, 82. Yes,
in 82, man. And I was a part of the Towel Power, and I got the yellow shirt and the whole thing. And so that was kind of cool. So I was here when all that was happening.
Well, we gave you our third string goaltender in Richard Brodeur. And if you ever thought that we were going to lose to our third string goaltender, you had another thing coming. So we said enough of that nonsense. We'll take.
It's funny, Terry, because I remember in game 1, like it went to overtime. Didn't Harold Snep score the goal and all that, right? Who also, by the way, is partially Latvian, so that's kind of fun fact. But that game 1 went to overtime, and funny, if Canucks won that first game on the island, might have been a different series, like a little bit longer at any event. It would have been 4 straight. So always remember that overtime game. It was 6-5, if I'm not mistaken, right?
If we had lost that, I can guarantee you it would have been a 5-game series.
All I remember was it was like the third period of game 4 before the Canucks scored at home, and it was just like.
What about that goal by Bossy with 1 section left? Come on, man. Now that thing is a historic goal. him flying through the air.
Okay, Terry, this isn't like
Backhand, top
this
roof.
isn't an advertisement for the Islanders, right? So I mean, North.
That's right. We gotta get back to you. So who would you say your biggest rival in no control zone is, and why?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, couple guys, I guess. So the divisions and stuff like that. So um, I would say in the Bossy division stuff, like Driscoll he was good
Yeah.
for some time there and all that, right? So, but I mean, obviously Dan and Ryan, and when Ryan chooses to to play, right?
Yeah.
So and but also I had a lot of history with Dean over the years and other hockey pools and stuff like that. So I really, really respect him and stuff. So I always watching him, see what he's doing, stuff like that. So
I kind of thought you, Dean, and Keith would be quite the rival.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
playing
Keith won the other year,
long.
right?
Yeah.
Keith won the other year, and I think we played in the semifinals and stuff, right? It was a really close game, and yeah, for sure. So it was awesome that he won that year. So.
Okay, so who would you say is, this is kind of a crazy question to ask you because it doesn't happen much, but I've asked everybody else this, so I'm going to ask you as well. Who would you say your best trading partner is?
What kind of response are you expecting?
I don't know. Make one up.
Well, I will say when the league first started and stuff like that, back in the day, when the Wild West of no control zone, I remember JP and I made a really good trade, I thought, at the time, and I think I traded him prospect Anderson, Frederick Anderson, who now
you like
pretty
Anderson.
decent player and stuff like that, and we were able to make good trades. So, but yeah, for me, the trades and this league in particular, it's an interesting sort of phenomenon and stuff, and so I haven't made that many trades recently, and not for lack of trying, actually. I mean, guys out there, know offers that I've made and stuff like that.
Did you ever stop to think that maybe the reason people don't want to trade with you is they're scared if you accept a trade, since you've already won 3 cups, that they're pretty much guaranteed that must mean if Rene wants this, then I must be getting screwed here.
Well, I mean, I haven't screwed anybody in trades.
No, I know that, but I'm saying maybe there's an aura about you that, you know what I mean? Winning 3 cups, a person's natural tendency. If I'm trading with you and I'm making a trade with you, a guy who's won 3 cups in 6 years, or well, let's call it 5 years because the 6 hasn't been decided. It could be 4 and 6. So if I'm making a trade with you, once you finally say to me, yeah, I like this trade, I'll do this, then the first thing that's going through my mind is, well, what am I missing here? What am I missing? Why does he like this trade and why do I like this trade?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Terry, because I made a trade offer earlier this year, and if I look back on it now, I'm really glad that I didn't make that trade, right? So, and some of the best trades are the ones that you don't make, right? So, and I think also like NHL example would be Glenn Sather and stuff like that, right? So, although he was got a bad rap, he was a bit of a prick at the end, right? So nobody really wanted to trade with him, right? So, but he was quite successful in things, right? So, but honestly, I mean, I don't get hardly any offers. I mean, guys aren't looking to trade with me. So usually if it is a trade situation, I'm making offers to somebody else or something, right? So I mean, I've had a few chats with you guys, but I'm kind of the philosophy in our league that, there's a lot of trades made this year. Like if you take a look, I don't know if you counted them or something, like, I don't know. It's very interesting. I mean, like 30 or
well, I'll just let you know this, like, we're doing $50 for this year as a fee, right? Ryan Kelly right now has $172 in transaction fees.
Well, that's beautiful. Thank you, Ryan. God bless Ryan.
Well, when he goes for a rebuild, he means it. Even Bo, $124.
So, but
so the pot's going to be fairly good.
No, I mean, it's good. So, but yeah, I mean, a lot of trades have been made and all that kind of thing. But Yeah, I mean, I'm actually of the opinion I'm trying to make it so that give people hope. Give people hope that guess what, you can actually do well without trading, right?
Oh,
So
you can.
because my emphasis is actually on the draft, and
Yes.
I think nobody's talking about. Well, they talk about the draft about the top guys, of course. Yeah, it's fantastic, but
It's the main guys.
drafting at like positions 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, stuff like that, and I'm happy with my draft last year, for example, and I'm just giving people hope, give a second thought, that you can actually build your team a different way. And the beauty of the pool and all this kind of stuff is that there's 16 different ways of actually trying to solve the problem and how to
Agree.
win and all that,
Yeah.
right? So, and there's a lot of focus on the trades, and they're very exciting. I mean, there's no question. It's there's guys going back and forth, and it's very tempting, I will say, especially if you're trading for 1 year guys and all that kind of thing, right? So,
Right.
but I think the draft's actually, it's and really I enjoy it, and then that's so that's kind of my focus. I'm just kind of giving people some different ideas and stuff like that too.
Yeah,
right?
for
So,
sure. I think it's pretty noticeable every year. Your full strip of draft choices is always there. And maybe you're right in the sense that it's quite possible by drafting in 12, 13, 14 and whatnot. You know what I mean? The top guys are specialists. Like you've got this year, you got Draisaitl, who's a points machine. You got Pasternak, who's a goal scorer. You got Panarin, who's a playmaker but puts up a ton of points. Drafting around the 12, 13, a lot of times you'll get the more rounded player. You know what I mean? Like he's good at plus minus. He's good at penalty minutes as well. And a lot of times you get that guy because
hey, somebody like Huberdeau, for
for
example. Huberdeau, a great player, by the way. You know all about him. So.
I do. You skipped him twice on me.
But just since we're on the draft, like I think an example this year would be Kaprizov and stuff, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, that guy was on my roster for like I don't know how many years, and I'm looking at it, and I see the name, and I'm like, do I really want this guy on my team or not? I watch him play in the Olympics. He's not playing the NHL and all that, and not everybody works out like that. But I mean, yeah, it was pretty fulfilling to actually sign the guy and stuff, and he's going to make a difference on the team and things, and so, but that's like it's 5 years or whatever it is, right? Just waiting for the guy, right? So I mean, so anyway, it's just some different philosophies. That's all.
Yeah, I like it. You know me, I'm a sit on my prospects kind of guy. So I've implemented that for years. Like I said,
I know, but there's some teams don't do prospects, which is okay too, right? So you manage the guys that you have, right? And you have more the one disadvantage of prospects is, of course, you don't have any flexibility in your roster, of course, and for injuries and stuff like that too, right? So and so yeah, it's neat. It's fun because you can try to go at it at all kinds of different angles. So.
Yeah, I agree. I know one last question before we get into it. Most of these podcasts were done before the playoffs started, and I always ask them for a prediction who might win the Cup this year. Since you're in the playoffs this year, I won't ask you that same question, but who would you say would be your top contender against you?
Well, if you had talked to me about 3 weeks ago, at least, I'm not just saying that because of now, but the team that I was looking out for was actually the Rangers. And you'd actually talked about them quite a bit in your earlier podcasts and stuff like that. And if you take a look at the team totals and all that kind of stuff, I mean, they were doing really well. And then, of course, Dean, the art of the trade, right? That guy, he's the master. I mean, I love all his trades and stuff, right? So actually, a lot of the players that he trades for are guys, that I would be interested in and stuff, thinking about it, and all this, and we kind of think alike, a lot of that kind of stuff. But yeah, he made some trades to go for it and things, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, I don't want to play this guy, right? So and I'm like,
I agree.
Want it, talking about tank, I don't want to play him. So, but yeah, Rangers, I always thought that, especially with Vasilevsky in goal too, which is he's got the top goalie, which some of the other teams don't necessarily have top goalies like that. So I mean, Vasilevsky can win goalie categories on his own and stuff, right?
He's pretty much up a level from any other goaltender.
Right. So you already got that in your back pocket, right? And then you pick up guys, like Panarin and Gerard and guys like that, and then you just fill out your team, right? So and you gave up some draft choices and things, but yeah, I mean, Rangers, were the team I was kind of actually thinking would do really well. Everybody, of course, thought Dan was going to do well too in the Bears and
Yeah.
with the fancy and all that. And I'm all over fancy, and I guess we'll get into that. So, but
Yeah.
that'll lead into my few other comments. But,
Yep.
but yeah,
Okay, sounds good. So basically, we might as well get into a deep dive of what happened this week. We're going to be talking about the quarterfinals, and we'll also be talking about the consolation round. And to start off with the quarterfinals, in the first game of the season in the playoffs, we had a huge upset. Oh well. Oh no, we had two upsets. Oh wait a second. No, we had three upsets. It was 3 to 4. It was crazy. Oh, hold on a second. We had 4 upsets.
what are you trying to say, Terry?
I think we had some upsets this week. It didn't quite.
Okay, we had a
as
few
planned.
upsets. Yeah.
All right, so I'm just gonna bring up the scores in that here. Give me a second. All righty, so let's take a look. We might as well start off with game 1 with the New Brunswick Bears and the Port Elgin Wolfpack. And wow, what a shocker this one was, Rene.
Well, you know what, Terry? I don't think it's that much of a shocker because I mean, you guys already kind of were mentioning how the Pack were entering the playoffs on a roll for sure. And if you take a look at the last 30 days stats there on the pool, I mean, they're leading in like goals, assists, points, and a plus 79, Terry.
I know.
Plus 79. I mean, like in the last 30 days, I don't even know how you can plan for that. I mean, like, I don't even understand how that works or how that, what was Bobby Orr? Remember that one year? He
was well over 100. Dennis Botman had 1 year at 124 plus.
Dennis who?
Probably
anyway,
the most well all-rounded defenseman to ever play.
Okay, great helmet, by the way. Anyway,
it made him look mean.
The Northland. But anyway, Wolfpack, yeah, I mean, they're on a roll, and they've been not just like last couple of weeks, not a fluke week. I mean, their team has really come together and stuff, right? So I know it's kind of tough for Dan because he's had a fantastic regular season and all that. But yeah, I mean, it's the worst team that he could play in the first round for sure. And so.
Yeah, for sure. I could see Bo coming. Yeah, I mean, you take a look at the plus minus right now at 29 against minus 14. That's basically 6 touchdowns with a 2-point conversion to try to catch up for game 3. So you might as well put a goal in game 3 right now for the Wolfpack.
Yeah, 14 points behind too, right? For game 3.
Yeah,
that's not so easy. That's not so easy. And it's not like all the categories are kind of spread out there. I guess penalty minutes are pretty close, but yeah, unfortunately it's going to be pretty tough for Dan to come back. But of course, absolutely COVID and everything, it's all possible. But
you never know.
Well, the Pack certainly have started strong, eh?
They have for sure. And they didn't just start strong. They were going strong for the last 2-3 weeks in the regular season as well. But yeah, off to a great start for sure. But then again, 2 out of the 3 so-called experts on the panel last week predicted the Wolfpack to win this series.
Yeah, I don't know who these experts are. Like, guy like Ryan or Al. Or you call Al an expert? Is that what you're trying to say? Right? I mean, like,
was Al on the podcast? No. Oh yeah, I guess so. He was. Yeah, I guess we're calling.
That's interesting that you would say Al's an expert in hockey pool. Like, that's great. Good to know.
I know.
Everybody's dumping on Al, so
So
jab here.
What do you? Why not? So, do you think it's possible the Bears can come back in this?
Yeah, I do. Absolutely. Yeah, it's I mean, definitely, like we've seen over history and stuff that it is possible. But yeah, that's a pretty significant lead in many categories. And but if you take a look at it, I mean, if the goaltending for the Bears shows up again, then they're looking at two categories, right? Sure. So, and penalty minutes is one of them, so they could get that for 3, and then you're down to maybe goals and stuff 6 behind. Obviously, plus minus won't work out, but yeah, absolutely, it's possible. They can kind of squeak out a 4-3, but everything has to kind of fall into place a bit, right?
He only won the goaltending categories because Mrazek showed up for yesterday for the first time in about a month and pitched a shutout.
I saw that. It's nice to see him actually playing on an NHL ice surface and things.
Yeah,
So he's been on the Bears lineup for how many weeks now, right? So,
yeah,
not playing, injured, but by choice. But yeah, that's actually huge for Bears having
yeah.
Mrazek back. So that'll definitely be a boost.
So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that I don't think Dan can make this up. I mean, like you said, I know it's possible. We've seen it before, but if you take a look back at Dan's last few weeks, he's been around the 30 range in points, and where before he was always up in the 40s and sometimes high 40s. And that his team, for some reason, has been slumping in the last little bit. So I don't think he can make it up. I think Bo is going to make it through there with the Wolfpack, and I think a very serious contender to win the cup.
Well, if you're getting 44 points a week and stuff like that, I mean, and especially plus 29. I mean, like,
Yeah, that's pretty insane.
I mean, that's pretty handy, right? So,
Well,
but
yeah,
yeah, I would not count, bossy division rival Dan out for sure. So he's had a really good season. How many games has he lost this year, Terry? One?
yeah, two.
What was it?
He lost
Two.
one in the last week there. That's what I mean. His team wasn't really rocking and rolling at the end either. So that's why I don't.
I would definitely wouldn't count him out and stuff, right? So,
No,
but yeah, it's definitely a tough hill to climb.
I don't count him out. I just don't think he's going to do it. Everything would have to go right. Everything. But yeah, I guess it could. You never know. All right, let's move on to. So that was no doubt our biggest and heaviest upset of the week. But man, I got another one coming your way. How about Moose Like Jagger?
Okay, I'm ready for it.
How about Moose Like Jaggers and Brewers?
Well, what was it? Ryan just barely made the playoffs there. He was in that death match there for the last week of the season and stuff, right? So, and amazing how it works, right? Like once you're in the dance, right? Like the guys are loose and stuff. They're ready to go. And yeah, I mean, you had a really good week there. So.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome, and not up to Nick's normal standards as of late. He'd been fooling around in the 40s for quite some time, going back almost as much as a month and whatnot. So, but it looks like we've got another huge discrepancy in the plus minus with 19 and -7, and the penalty minutes that can be made up with one game misconduct in a fight. So 26 on 12 isn't bad, but it's a bit of a spread.
So Terry, do you actually plan for plus minus? I mean, that category, or is it just like a wild card? Like you actually try and say, oh, this team's on Tampa, like, hey, they're going to be like a plus maybe, or not Detroit, guys like that.
I definitely take it in as a factor, for sure. It's my last factor, but I definitely take it into factor. Like if I got 2-3 guys I'm undecided about looking at the waiver wire, and I'll go over the plus minus, take a look at the plus minus, and oh wow, this guy's huge plus minus, and these two guys are they're not bad, but they're minus guys. So yeah, I'll definitely take. It makes up my mind for me. In some
cases. Yeah, it's if you think about it, it's the same value as like goals, assists, like goalie points, right? So
it's still a crapshoot. No matter what, it's still a crapshoot.
Mm-hmm.
There's no denying that, and it's kind of the one thing I do like about the plus minus is that the other 6 categories are kind of, you can build for those 6 categories. So if one team wins 3 of the categories and the other team wins the other 3 categories, I love having a crapshoot to just decide it. And that's just definitely the way I see plus minus. It's hilarious. Like, look at all these guys being divided. Like, look at, well, we'll get to that later. But 19 and -7, that's 26. That's a big difference.
That's very impressive. So, but yeah, I mean, Nick, a little disappointing, of course, to lose the first game. But I think you would agree that in this game in particular, definitely it's still up for grabs and all that.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
So,
yeah.
And Nick made some trades there and things too, right? So interesting. I haven't looked to see how his trades have worked out, or last week and things like that. But
pretty good for him, actually. Not too bad. But
good.
Almost everything.
Yeah, it's a close game, but I mean, hey, man, 2 4th place teams, they're right in there, right? So I mean,
for sure. And I would say they both probably have one category that they got one category each probably sewn up for game three. So basically a 1-1 tie right now in game three. So other than that, everything is right solidly together. So I'm guessing then you think Nick's gonna come back in this one? I do.
Well, you know what? I support the guys in my division and stuff like that. So not so much
There we go.
Hawks fans, right? So that's not so exciting for me. But hey, you know, Ryan stuff. Yeah, I got cheer for guys in my division, man. So I mean, you know, I mean, our division has always been the best over the years, right? So so why should
Absolutely.
anything be any different, right? So I mean, cheering for our guys, right?
Yeah, it's really never even been close. I mean, only Keith is the only one to crack the nut. That's it. The
But yeah, I
only
think it's a toss up right now. So what's
yeah.
the goal? What's the goaltending? What's the goaltending situation like there?
Hold on a second. Let me bring it up.
Because look at Nick. Last week he had in a Halak and a Hudobin. I don't know about this week, but I guess Jerry's out too. So and Lankinen. That's actually those four goalies are not exactly you know, top of the list goalies, right? So I
Right.
mean, that could actually come down to those goalies who wins or who loses, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, that's West Coast. That's wrong league. I'm going, what are Price and Sorokin doing on my team? That guy Price is almost killing me.
I
Yeah,
think
okay.
Hudobin was injured and stuff, right? For Nick and Halak got shelled the other
Yeah.
night. And Jerry was injured too.
Halak is out now too. Halak and Rask are both out.
Scroll down, Terry.
Yeah, I gotta find him. Where is he? Nick, there he is.
Who's in for this week? Oh, Quicksand, eh?
Yep. And he's not playing tonight, but they're losing to Arizona right now, 2-0.
Yeah, so take a look at those four goalies. I mean, not really all-star caliber stuff here, right?
No.
So, and a lot of those guys are injured, but you know, it actually could come down to that particular category. So,
well, I could see a lot of old experience coming in here and possibly pulling it off with Hudobin and Quick. Two old wily vets that, you know, both still playing fairly good hockey. So, yeah, I could see that.
It's unfortunate that Jerry got injured there. For
yeah, he was playing really good. Really good.
But see, look at it down below, Carter Hart and stuff. I mean, he's the guy who should be playing actually right now, given his pedigree. But he's just had such a terrible season, right? So it's just
he's terrible. I've seen a lot of him watching the Islander games. He's just awful.
Well, I don't understand. Last year, he was
more I can say. I know. I don't know. Man, he just fired his shrink. His psychologist, his sports psychologist, because
he played junior here in Everett, just down the road.
Oh, did he?
Right, so I'm kind of disappointed that I was going to go down to actually go see him play and stuff. Right, it's about a 2.5 hour drive here from Harrison, and I want to go down and see junior hockey and stuff and see him play specifically. So, and I don't know what happened. Like, I guess it's just you get drafted by the Flyers, right? And the Flyers are just goaltending nightmare for 20 years, right? So it just doesn't matter what your name is, how good you are, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I think we both see Nick coming through in this one for sure. I have no doubt that he will. He was just too hot going into the last two seasons, but like we said, anything can happen. So that was a huge upset as well, because let's be honest.
Especially considering, I mean, you got to make the playoffs in the last game of the season too, right? So I mean, but hats off, guys. I mean, go.
Yeah, that could have been the flying colors, Garrow. You could have really slammed it in Fancy's face if you wanted to, if you had made it. But Fancy was right. You ended up where you were supposed to end up. But anyway, we're going to go to game number 3 now, and that's with my cohort commissioner, the Living Skies Capitals and the Calgary Oilers. The young gun, Blake, second youngest in the league, going at her. 4-2 for the Oilers, Rene.
Yeah, so that's the way the no control zone turns, eh? I mean, flavor of the month or whatever, right? Al, fantastic start to the season, great lead and all that, and now he's on the brink, right? So trying to stay in the playoffs, and Oilers of course have also made quite a lot of moves and improved their team fantastically over the season, and especially for the playoffs. So yeah, it's tough matchup, and right now Oilers are on top.
Yeah, and I believe they're they're winning this week as well. So looking good for
Yeah, well, there's your plus minus, right? So minus 16, -8, stuff like
Yeah.
that. You win the category with a -8. I mean, it's kind of like, not really winning, but yeah, the categories are, pretty close. And I guess Al's got the goaltending going there and stuff. I mean, you guys made fun of him and stuff last week for his
I know,
goaltending choices. I
know.
mean,
And-
so
and
you
he
want to
made
look
the
at
right
that again?
ones.
I mean, maybe we'll just review. I mean, he's got that fantastic waiver wire pickup from Florida,
Drieger.
Drieger, 6 win tie
That's
shutouts,
crazy.
966 fave percentage.
I know.
And
That's just
good old
crazy.
Carey Price, with Montreal, 4 win tie shutout. And Markstrom, the goalie that all the experts, the panel would have put in, zero win tie shutouts and an 854 save percentage.
The
854.
so-called experts.
So I mean, maybe Al is really in tune with his team and stuff, and maybe you guys are out to lunch.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt about it. He's definitely making us look stupid on this one for sure. But we nailed the other stuff. So, you can't be perfect as the experts. I mean, all experts are wrong every once in a while.
That being said, I mean, Al did trade specifically for
Yes.
Markstrom during the season, and
I thought it was a great
traded away Holtby, right? So, I mean,
it was a great
trade.
I'd make that trade right now again. No.
Right. So one would
problem.
think that, Markstrom was your guy, right? So,
Yeah.
And hey, hats off to Al, man. I mean, it's not so easy, right? Picking these goalies sometimes.
Yeah.
And,
Saw
he made
his
the right
man.
choices, so good for him.
Saw his man and he went after him. And
yeah, I'm really surprised about that Florida team and that goaltending situation there. That's kind of unexpected there. But
Oh Bob. Why like before that Keith had him and he was like spectacular. I don't know. He's solid enough for now until I sign Sorokin, which I might be forced to do next year since my team's gonna be ready to go. So
is that right? You're gonna be good next year,
Oh yeah.
Is that
yeah.
okay?
Yeah, I'm coming.
You heard it here first.
I'm definitely
here.
coming. It's time.
No tanking next year,
No
next year's the year, eh?
Next year's the year. Yeah,
Right
I'm looking forward to it. The only reason I tanked this year, it probably worked out really well for me that I did tank. But the only reason I did it this year was because of it's such a short season that I wouldn't have to suffer that long because I already did it 1 year last year, right? But that was a weird season too. So that was a shortened season basically as well. So both my rebuilding years have been short years, but nobody proves that rebuilds are not necessary more than you, Rene. Like you've been in the playoffs every single year. You're always drafted anywhere between 12 and 16. And yet you've also won 3 cups. So anybody who's using this rebuilding strategy like myself, you don't have to. You don't, I guess.
Well, I must admit, Terry, after all of the draft choices you had last year and stuff, I mean, I was expecting that, you were going to contend for the playoffs this year for sure.
I was thinking about it, but when Lafreniere is the first overall pick, he doesn't really do any dividends for me this year. And I was just taking a look at something. Actually, I'm going to bring it up here. I'm going to show it that I have. Where is it here? And this will be something that we'll be talking about later. Is you can see here on the draft board.
Yeah.
Look at Ryan Kelly here. He's got 5th and 6th right now as it is, and 1st overall. So basically, right now, by just eyeballing that, he would get Draisaitl, probably John Carlson, maybe Eichel if somebody didn't take him, and a Jake Getzel type as well. So that's compared to what I had last year when I had 5 first-round picks. I got Lafreniere, who I couldn't use, and then my next 2 picks were D'Angelo. Letang first, and then D'Angelo. Or no,
yeah, maybe Dean could tell us.
Morgan Riley. I got Morgan Riley 5th. And then I got Letang. So basically my 3 were Lafreniere, Morgan Riley, and Letang, compared to what our Ks could be Draisaitl, Carlson, and Gessel. That's much better. I'd rather have that.
Yeah, but look at after that. Look at all picks 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like he's not even, well, I guess he's got a couple there, but after round 3, you can go to sleep almost, looks like, So
yeah, pretty much. So there was a lot of shifting last week for people's draft picks. Keith would have been happy with this moving up, but of course it's early days because it's only 1 weekend of the playoffs, and all 4 of these teams could end up all up in here. So we still don't know yet about that. But overall, Keith probably got advantage of it. Ryan Kelly got advantage of it. You got an advantage of it, big time. Yeah. So that's probably what, and of course the flying colors in both flames moved up as well.
Well, like I said, Terry, I'm a real proponent of the draft and stuff, right? So
yeah, I know Ryan Kelly was also, and I still debate why he even tanked in the first place. I can't understand. In my prediction podcast before the season, I predicted him to win the division. I mean, and then he just, because of that solid advice, he rips the team apart at 3-1 and says, "No, I'm going for it." Didn't win another game the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, everybody's got their the path that they choose and all that kind of stuff. I will say that given the discussion and the banter and stuff like that, I mean, sure. I mean, if you don't think you're going to win, I mean, it's not so much fun and all that kind of stuff, right? So, but I do find that it's very it seems very trendy and very attractive to try and tank and try to get the top draft pick, as opposed to teams that are like, hey, maybe I'm a couple players short, but you know what? If I get a couple guys, I could actually make the playoffs, right? So and I don't find as many guys looking to like, I really want to make the playoffs. It's like, oh yeah, well, it's just easier. I'll just get rid of my guys and then I'll go for these top guys. And don't get me wrong. I mean, of course, I mean, there's every draft is different. And this next year, I mean, there's some top guys there. I mean, everybody can use a guy like Leon Draisaitl in their team, right? So, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's when you make the playoffs, look at the pack, man, and look at the Brewers. All of a sudden after week 1, they're in the driver's seat, and who would have thought, right? So I mean, get a couple of weeks there, and now this season with the COVID and all that, I mean, anything can happen, right? So, I mean, anyway.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's like I did in your league. I made it in the last day of the year, and now I'm doing some damage in the playoffs. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's hopefully that is not going to happen every year, because it's kind of crappy to have 8 teams competing.
It's an interesting point though, Terry, because I mean, you mentioned earlier in an earlier podcast how like you made that choice first. You said right, and then so to tank, and if you make it early enough, then you can actually pick up guys or trade guys and that kind of stuff, right? So, I mean, I would suggest if like closer to the trading deadlines, I mean, okay, maybe then I'll trade some of my guys and stuff like that. But yeah, decisions are being made like in week 2, week 3, week 4 and stuff that affect the whole season. And, I mean, that's fine. Right. So, I mean, but, you haven't really seen exactly how the league's going to play out. Right. So, and, so.
Well, anyway. Maybe if Bo or Dono won this year in 4 spots in their divisions, and then maybe that would change people's mind. So that anything
we'll see. We'll have to see.
Nobody knows better. Nobody knows better than you and I that anything can happen in the playoffs.
Well, I think we discussed this, Terry, and first place in the league and stuff, right? I mean, I don't, maybe Ryan Driscoll and stuff, right? But I don't think that anybody who's actually won the regular season has won the playoffs too, right? So just because you win the regular season does not mean you're going to win the playoffs too, right? So automatically.
That's right. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It would be nice to see more teams competing. I think we are going to see that, though. I really do. I have a feeling we shall see that. But anyway, I guess we should be getting back to. Let me bring up the thing again. We actually didn't even finish off the Capitals going to happen next week. So what do you think here? Is Al got a shot?
Absolutely, Al has a shot. So he's got the 2 goalie categories, looks like in his back pocket, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, both penalty minutes and plus minus are within reach. Looks like Oilers got the goals kind of sewn up, but definitely assists are tied at 20, right? So
Yeah.
again, I think Al can come back for a 4-3 result if things fall into place. So definitely he's definitely can come back. So
Yeah, I see Al's out here is the Calgary Oilers have always had a bad plus minus all year. Al hasn't had a bad plus minus all year. It hasn't been great, but it hasn't been as bad as it's been lately. So if Al can come back and win that category in game 3 and the assists, theirs is out, because I think we both agree his goaltending is gonna definitely take 2 goals into game 3.
yeah, no, for sure. It's gonna, most of these games look like might even come down to game 3 for many of them, right? So
Right.
which is good. So
Yep. All right. So let's move to our 4th game of the quarterfinals. And this has to do with you, Rene, the Harrison Lakers and the Colorado Rangers, with the Rangers with the upset of a 4-2 win. And this is a traditional long rival going back to the days. This is Dean called you out, Rene, on the podcast. He goes, "I want you, Rene." And he got you. He got you. And he's in the lead. What do you got to say about that?
well, I mean, we looked at the standings and stuff like that. So Dean was he was behind second place by quite a bit. So he was kind of secure in third, right? So, and yeah, like when it fell out of going for first, then it looked like, potentially we would play each other. So I think, like I said, I mean, I was kind of trying to avoid him and stuff, looking at it, a month ahead of time and things,
Yeah.
but there really wasn't much that I could do about it. So, and so, yeah, it was kind of known sort of that potentially we'd play each other. So
Yeah, but like most people, a lot of people would be scared playing you. He said he wanted you. He didn't just was fit knowing that you guys were going to play each other. He wanted you bad. He said he wanted to be the guy to take you out. He's not
well,
afraid.
that's great. So, and yeah, I mean, obviously, I got a target on my back, right? So I mean,
You got the biggest
no surprise
ever
there.
been.
I mean, I'm not looking for any like charity or compassion from anybody in this league, that's for sure, right? So, but I mean, yeah, I mean, if I looked at my team compared to Dean's team and the way that my team is constructed, and the guys that are towards the end of my list and stuff like that, they're definitely a little bit weaker. And Dean did a great job making some trades to shore up a lot of positions and all that kind of stuff. So, so yeah, I mean, I can definitely see how
I do think
me instead of the Oilers, for example, who have a fantastically well-rounded team with a lot of one-year guys.
Yeah, I do think Dean got a little bit lucky, and I'll tell you why. He basically was hit for 4 solid weeks. Actually, it was like 3.5. He had a bunch of guys coming back halfway through one of the weeks, but it affected 4 weeks in a row of Dean's play. But at that time, all 4 teams from 5th to 8th were all tanking. If there had been another, maybe another couple teams trying to win and take advantage of that time while Dean was down and out with COVID, he may not have even made the playoffs.
Well, it's funny you should mention that, Terry, because that kind of like, leads into our discussion regarding draft versus tank and stuff, right? And one of the byproducts of tanking is that, I mean, if you're playing guys, that are retired and guys that are like on long-term injury reserve for forever, and not actually real players that are actually playing in games and stuff like that, the integrity of the results are kind of skewed a little bit too, right? So
Sure.
and so yeah, I mean, and don't forget that the schedule isn't balanced, right?
Yeah.
So if guys in your division happen to be tanking and all that, you can take advantage of that a little bit as well too, right? So and so that all kind of goes part and parcel, goes all together, right? So but in any event, I mean, Dean's had a solid team, but through trades and stuff, I mean, he's really improved it, and he's gonna have some draft choices and all that. But yeah, I mean, if you take a look at those totals for all the categories and all that, he's been doing really well here the last month and all that, and he's on a roll. And
I got to talk about your guys' goaltending. I mean, this is just an absolutely amazing battle. 950 versus 946, both with 9 points each. But here's the kicker. Take a look at this. The Lakers, 200 shots against 190 saves. Rangers, 168 shots against 159 saves. Look at the rest of these teams. 107, 111, 89, 85, 44. This is the heavyweight of heavyweight goaltending battle going on right before our very eyes.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you guys talked about it before. It was Hellebuck versus Vasilevsky and stuff, right? So I mean, those are the two top guys. But I mean, Talbot's back in the goal for Minnesota, and they've been doing well.
Yeah.
And Ryan's not the best UC Saros fan and all that, but Nashville's on a roll now.
Yeah, they are probably going to make playoffs, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. They just went ahead of Chicago, right? So I was watching there on Saturday, and Saros got a shutout, right? And looking pretty good, but Talbot and Vasilevsky both got wins on Saturday too, right?
Yeah.
And save percentage is really close, but the goaltending definitely in the series is.
So we were a little puzzled last week because you had Saros in the lineup injured, and did you know he was coming back?
Yeah, Terry, I got some sources and things, right? I mean,
when you've been doing this long, you have a few sources, right, Rene?
Well, I will say, I mean, I've got Mike Smith as third goalie there, right?
Yeah.
So, and I was looking at the matchups and all that, and Saros had one more game, and I was thinking that he might be able to come back and things, and Oilers were playing the Leafs and things where they haven't actually had the most success all year. So, but it wasn't actually the strategy to try to throw the goalie category, and I won goalie. Definitely not. It was a decision regarding both of them. But yeah, I mean, no question about it. It was a risky thing, and yeah.
Well, you're going to have a little bit of problems going into game 3 with Dean with 41 points and you 32. That's a bit of a spread. Not unmakeable. Definitely not unmakeable. That's been done many, many times before, but still going to be a tough thing to do.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I was, to be honest, I felt quite fortunate to even be in the game as long as I was, and got a few goals there and things, which was kind of handy. But yeah, it came down to the plus minus and on Sunday, and
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy that such a game like that would be decided by plus minus and by only.
I was hoping that I could win the first game and at least.
Yeah. Well, that's
push it, but,
the philosophy of winning that first game is so huge. It's always easier to stay ahead than it is to catch up. Like when you're down, it's tough to catch up. And so I'm always just hoping for that first game win and hopefully a 2 or 3 maybe category lopside wins that they might not be able to catch up on.
Yeah, well, this was the other thing too. I mean, not wanting to play Dean. And if you take a look, I think I would have beat Yager and would have beat Capitals too.
Oh, yeah.
Taken, right? So, I mean, just, third seed and all that kind of thing. So, but the hot team. So, that's the way it goes, right? So, the matchups and things like that. So, but yeah, I definitely did not want to play Dean. And
you would have beaten who's like Yager and just totaled it up. Definitely would have beat him. Yeah, it was a great game by both of you. It was close all week too, right?
Yeah, it was funny, especially the goals category. Went back and forth, and just when you think you're okay, then the other guy gets a few. And I don't know if Dean's following along really closely and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I went down to the last few games and didn't even want to look at the results. Just scared to look at the plus minus or something or whatever. But yeah, it's all fun, so it's good. Hopefully, I'll be able to make it close here.
Let's see what you're up to this week here. So is this our game is going on right now? These are, where are you? There you are. Well, you guys are in another tight battle. 4-3 right now for Dean.
Yeah, so Dean's got the points category and assist category all sewn up and stuff, right? Yeah. So somehow or other, got to get the plus minus and the penalty minutes to go my way. And but yeah, it's gonna be a tough one, no question about it. Yeah, I got a couple of guys injured there too, right? So I got some holes in my roster. So
right. Yeah, I had Forsberg go down just before the playoffs while he was almost getting me out of the bottom 4 by making me almost win. As soon as I need him, he's gone.
And this is actually interesting because you're talking about trades and stuff, Terry. So I'm looking at the matchup, right? So, I mean, there were some guys at the deadline that I was interested in as well that went, Gensel, Wilson, guys like that. And, look at the big picture, and I don't think necessarily that they.
Garland just got another point.
There you go. I don't necessarily think that the deadline guys would have actually helped my team overall, right? So.
Right. All right, so that's basically what we got for the quarterfinals going on right now. I think I would say we're probably going to have a couple upsets, even though it's hard to consider 2 and 3s upsets, even though they kind of are, because they're both 2s are really good.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like it. It's a bit of a free for all there, so it's going to be interesting to see how it works out.
That's just crazy that all 4 went down like that. Have you ever seen anything like that before? I've never seen any. I haven't seen anything like that before. Never.
This is what I'm trying to tell you, Terry. You make the playoffs and stuff, right? And then it's the dance starts. It's take a look at March Madness and stuff, UCLA and stuff like that, or pick your teams or sports and all that, right? So there's always upset.
All right, so we're back. Just took a little bit of a break. We're going to quickly take a look at the consolation round and see what's going on there, who moved up, who didn't move up. And there was quite a bit of movement in the consolation round, as there normally is. So let's see what we got here. All right, we're going to start with the first to fourth draft picks. We got the Bruins and Islanders at 1-0, and the Quebec City Outlaws and the Macaulay Mustangs at 0-1. So right now, Ryan has top draft pick. He won 6-0 over Quebec City. I just wanted JP had like 7 guys injured in this game. One of them a goaltender. And he had Ryan Nugent Hopkins on the bench and Adam Henrique on the bench.
Yeah, what's up with that?
If Ryan,
did he miss the memo? Time to win, right?
If Ryan didn't win that game, there was going to be shame for sure. So the Bruins easily handled the Outlaws 6-0. And the Islanders, the score is a little misleading. Islanders didn't really have a good week, but they did beat the Mustangs 7-0. So any ideas how this is going to end up?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just taking a look at the rosters and stuff. It's kind of hard because, I mean, the regular season rosters are pretty much 180 degrees different than the playoff rosters. So a lot of new guys there and stuff like that. So
I think if I got to call it, I'm going to go with myself with the top draft pick. And the second draft pick is hard for me because Ryan Kelly has the tiebreaker. So basically right now, Keith has got to win 2 games to get ahead of him. He's playing.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at the goaltending and stuff. Unfortunately, Rask is injured for JP and stuff like that. So, I mean, Ryan's got Allen and Samsonov, which are decent goalies and stuff, and then of course you've got Bobrovsky and Boissat.
I'm kind of pegging myself as first overall and Quebec City at the 4th draft pick spot.
Well, if you're going to play injured players, then
So, and then it's a toss up between Keith and RK for 2nd and 3rd. However, there is one possibility that I could see that changing up, and that is, let's say for example, Ryan plays the Mustangs next week and he beats them. Then in the 3rd game of the round robin, he plays me and then he upsets me. Well, I'm now 2 points behind him and I've got to basically win 2 more games than him in the following 3 games. So Ryan, I could see stealing first overall draft pick, which I wouldn't care. Doesn't matter to me. Pasternak.
Well, Ryan, he spent $150 again, switching his roster up he spent how much money preparing for the actual consolation round? How much money did you spend?
How much money did I spend?
For the consolation round.
I spent for the entire year, I spent $21 or $26.
So, I mean, he's he's going for it, right? So, I mean,
he's going for it. He's going for it. I still think he's going for it to win the league. I think it's a hell of a great start with those 3 those 3 picks, especially if the Flying Colors and Flames of Fleury stay where they are, he could really have some good building blocks. But I don't care what he drafts because I know it won't be the final. It won't be the final results. Like I'm sure all 3 of those top picks he gets eventually will get traded at some time.
Well, you guys have already mentioned that all top 4 picks are good picks. So I mean,
Yeah.
it really, doesn't matter which one you get. I mean, sure, you might have a preference, but I mean, they're head and shoulders above everybody else.
Yeah, but Ryan would definitely benefit from 5 and 6, so too. They're really strong players. Like Carlson right now is the point machine getting.
Well, Ryan's a smart guy, man. Like, what do you want? Like, I mean,
Yeah, he did it. Yeah, good for him. All right, so that's how we got that working out. I'm not sure about the Mustangs. They've just been really weird in this whole thing. So let's move on to the 5th, 8th draft pick. And this one was big. We had both teams flip-flopping. So there was no upsets here. Both Flames of Fleury and Flying Colors won. Flying Colors won the game 5-2 against Sealand. And Flames of Fleury beat Pitter Patter 4-3. However, this was Pitter Patter led this game for 6.5 days.
Isn't that annoying?
Yeah. 6.5 days, and then West just boom. Just like that, he pulls out a 4-3 win. So
listen, you've been calling out West all year and stuff, right? So I mean, he's had a decent, good team and stuff, right? So let's hope he can get the 5th pick or whatever right here. So.
Yeah. So streaky though, but West won't get it, but that'll be for the Bruins. But let's see. What would West got a 2nd rounder, so that would make a difference in the 2nd rounder, and then he picks again at 6. So
we were talking earlier, Terry, about guys trying to make the playoffs, right? So these 4 teams would be potential guys that would try to push to make playoffs, right? So. West lost some tough games there towards the end of the season and stuff like that. So,
well, he actually won his last 4 in a row, and he just had that one spot where he went 0-2 because before that he basically won all of his games for 3 weeks too, except one, I think. And it was just unfortunate. He fell behind so quick, and I couldn't really figure out why. But
Flying Colors was the 1-1 team, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I actually in my predictions was kind of wrong last week. For some reason, I completely overlooked Garrow because I've been trashing him all year on the fancy stats. But I immediately picked that the Flames would win the 5th overall pick. But I and both Ryan and Al, I believe, picked Flying Colors. I think in hindsight, I probably would have picked Flying Colors as well. But I didn't. So I picked the Flames. I'm going to live and die by the sword.
Well, again, we had this so-called panel of experts and stuff last week. So I mean,
they're experts.
It's like
they're certified.
I don't know their credentials exactly, but I mean, there was a consensus in some things, right? So.
Yeah. So basically we got the Flying Colors and Flames up with 2 points, and both Pitter Patter and Sealand down with nothing. So I kind of see. I don't know.
Well, don't forget, Sealand had some good, my team and stuff. They had some good results towards the end of the season, so I definitely would not count them out at all. So
no, I wouldn't count them out either. And they've got a good tiebreaker. They got a tiebreaker against both the Flying Colors and Flames, so that could help them.
It's funny, it's like 5th pick, so it's it seems like it's Gensel, I suppose, or somebody like that, right? So
or
which
Carlson.
is
Or Carlson.
Wow. I mean, don't wreck the draft and stuff, Terry. But I mean, Carlson would be awesome too, right? So that somebody like Gensel or whatever. I mean, that's definitely a quality player. So, and then after that, it tails off a little bit, right? So, I mean, definitely, it's worth fighting for, worth playing for the 5th pick, right? So there's going to be a good player there, and like you said,
I agree.
6th too, right? So definitely worth keeping track of, and not like JP and stuff. You got to have guys in your lineup, right? So make sure. So
I think Ryan wants me to beat him in our side, but he definitely wants 2nd because if he was 1st overall, he would have to take Draisaitl. But if he's second, then he can take Pasternak.
Oh, so do we have some insights here as to the next
100.
draft?
I said on my last podcast, Enning, I said right here and now, I said if I do get this first overall pick, I am announcing right here and now, I will be taking Draisaitl, and don't bother sending trade requests because it's not going to happen. Draisaitl will be an Islander next year if I get first overall pick.
So is Ryan going to make the same kind of declaration that you are, or for everybody?
I just know Ryan. I know Ryan. I know he's a smart guy, and as much as he would like to take Pasternak over Draisaitl, I don't think he could do it. I don't. He's got that
right. The Bruins factor, well, right? Isn't that kind of tough? Like, so I don't know. Imagine if it was Barzal, and Draisaitl, right?
Yeah.
What would you do, right? I mean, in the history of the league, like, would you take Draisaitl, who's like the better pick supposedly, or your guy?
You do know I took Tavares probably out of place in WCHP first overall, right?
Well, I know these kinds of decisions come into play, right? Yeah. So I mean,
I did do that in your league. I took him way before I should have.
Yeah, but I mean, Pasternak, or I guess it depends. I mean, is Ryan really that much of a Bruins fan, or?
He's a huge Bruins fan. He's always wearing his Bobby Orr jersey in the tower on Fridays when we wear jerseys and that when we're in the tower. He's a big Boston fan. He went to Boston last year. He's Boston everything. Boston Red Sox. He went to New York to see the Red Sox play in the Yankees, and then he went to Boston to see them play in Boston. Yeah, he's a huge Boston fan.
Well, that's actually quite interesting because, yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're a big Boston fan, having Pasternak, who's still a younger player, you know.
Yeah, that's a tough one though, man. Like it could be 20-point difference. It can be. It could be 20, 30-point difference. It has that possibility, but Pasternak is going to get you totals in the goal department for sure.
They're both around the same age too. I think Pasternak's maybe a little bit older, but not much. But they're both young players, right? So
yeah,
can't go wrong.
That's a tough. That's why I'm saying. That's why I think he wants me to beat him so that he doesn't have to make that choice. It'll be an easy decision for him between Panarin and Pasternak. He'll take Pasternak every single time.
So, who do you think Mustangs would take then and stuff? Right. So, is there anybody in particular?
I think if he finished second or first?
Third, I guess, basically.
Well, third, I definitely would take Panarin over. I'm still torn, honestly, between Panarin and Pasternak because I'm thinking of their futures, right? Now I'm thinking that Bergeron and Marchand are starting to get old. Obviously, you're going to sign the guy for 5 years, right? And he's still.
Oh, you have to.
He's still going to produce without Marchand and Bergeron, even if they're still around.
I thought Panarin was going to the Rangers.
Well, Panarin is with the Rangers. So
yeah, but I mean, next year I'll trade for that too, right? So
yeah, so yeah, for me it's a tough call. I'm not sure which one I would take between Pasternak and Panarin. That's a really hard call for me.
Actually, it's really funny, Terry. Isn't that interesting? Not like Dean's podcast. I'm not making any flagrant trade requests from players and from GMs. You know, hey, Shesterkin, by the way, let's make a deal. Like, I'm not looking at your team. Like, hey, let's make a deal. You know, yeah. So
yeah.
He learned pretty well how to compliment everybody too, and hope you win and all that kind of stuff. The reverse jinx and all that kind of stuff, right?
So. He tried it all, man. He brought out all the stops. He got his kid to put the New York Ranger background on for him. He got his wife. He got his wife to put him on Zoom because he has no clue how to do it. He's never on the computer.
So can he tie his shoes and stuff, right? I mean, does his wife dress him in the morning too? I mean,
it's
how
very
does that
possible.
work?
I haven't woke up with both of them in the morning. I don't think. Maybe in Duncan. I can't remember. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know how they wake up.
Anyway, it should be interesting. There's 4 really good players there, and like you said, I mean, anybody who gets any of those guys should be happy about it. And so yeah.
I completely 100% agree. And like I said, I really think Ryan Kelly has really set himself up really nicely. Even if he doesn't get the 5 and 6, even if he ended up with 7 and 8, there's Ryan did some research on it. Even 7 and 8 are pretty good next year as well. So he's gonna have 3 good core pieces to start with on his reel for sure.
Yeah, but I guess the big question is he going to like try to win next year, or is that not enough? Right.
Well,
So,
I'm telling you, I know what I would do if I was him.
oh yeah, what's that?
Well, if I had those 3 guys, I would nicely tuck them on the bench, and I would go get me Connor McDavid or Austin Matthews next year, and then I would be ready to play.
Okay.
I mean, that draft next year is crazy. McDavid, Matthews is a whole other shit.
But again, Terry, I've been trying to tell you all night stuff.
Just
You
make the
don't have to
playoffs.
win the thing. You make the playoffs. I mean, like,
That's true.
look at the Wolfpack. Great job.
He did a lot of work. He did a lot of work.
Look at the
to get there,
Brewers and stuff. You got 2 upsets. You've been talking about upsets all night and stuff, right? So, and anything can happen, right?
Yeah. 4 upsets. That's just crazy. That's just nuts. I couldn't believe it while I was watching it. I was going, "Holy cow, this is crazy!" And,
Well,
wow.
my game with Dean is not an upset because he actually has a better team. But yeah, like,
But positional wise and whatnot, yeah, they're upsets. So you're included. You're included as an upsetee.
fair enough.
Or no, yeah, you're an upsetee. He would be an upsetter. Yeah, that works.
Hey, it's gonna be a great week coming up and stuff. Let's hope that COVID. I mean, I don't know about the Canucks and stuff, right?
Yeah,
So how many guys have
it's
Canuck
gonna
guys and things?
it's gonna affect it. It's affecting me, but who cares about me? I'm just in the bottom. But the Calgary Flames are going to be losing 2 games this week. So
I'm thinking
anybody with
about
Flames.
a guy like Nick and stuff. He's got Quinn Hughes and stuff. He's not playing and stuff like that, right?
I
So,
forgot he has. That's
I don't know if he
big
benched him or
loss.
not. Maybe you could take a look, but
Yeah,
guys like that, right? So it's definitely.
yeah,
We all knew that entering the season that was going to potentially affect
Yeah.
some of the results, right? So,
Yeah.
but now it's crunch time too, right?
yeah, for sure. I forgot that Nick had. He's a big part of his team for sure. And I'm sure other people got some good Canucks too. And whatchamacallit's down? Peterson, he's already been down for a long time anyway. So whoever had him.
Yeah, Ryan traded for him. Remember, he traded.
He's got him next year.
Yeah, he traded for him this year and
Wow.
stuff. Remember, I've got Horvat and stuff, which on my team I don't have any spares, so that kind of
Right.
hurts me quite a bit. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
it's
good
kind of
all
sad.
around. He's good all
Kinda
around
sad.
for you, penalty minutes and everything. So he's a good guy to have for you. Yeah, we kind of knew the COVID thing was going to happen. We just got to take it as it is. And I mean, Dean took it really well. He said, "Oh, I'm sure other people had it as bad as me."
Yeah, but see, Dean
And
got the COVID.
They didn't.
Dean got COVID at the right time, man. You got to like when it doesn't count, not like in the playoffs. So that's another thing. Dean, he's like, let me
Yeah.
tell you,
He's saying, "I'm
that
going to get
guy,
all my
he's a smart
boys on
cookie."
COVID now, so they get their herd immunity in, and they'll be just golden for the playoffs." All right, Rene. Well, I think that's about all we got for the podcast tonight. I really want to thank you for coming out. 3-time defending champion. Went from the Chilliwack Chiefs to the Harrison Lakers. The Lakers 1-2, Chiefs 1-1. Really want to thank you for coming out on the podcast tonight. Rene, any final thoughts?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, Terry. I do want to tell you these podcasts and stuff I think have been awesome for the league and things. I mean, you mentioned you're retired and things, right? So you got a little extra time, so that's awesome. So nice to see that you're using that, for our benefit. But yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. So I think it's been great to everybody. This league's pretty interesting. There's a lot of guys all over the place and things, and many of us haven't had a chance to meet in person, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think these podcasts have really helped to, introduce guys to each other. And, I'm not so scary, for example, right, to make a trade with, right?
There
So,
you go. That's what we were
like
trying
that,
to.
right?
That's what we were trying to get across for you. One
But,
thing,
I mean, Al is Al, right? I mean, you take a look at Al and, what are you going to do, right? So,
Yeah.
but anyway, it's been a lot of fun and things. And thank you so much for taking the time to do all this podcast stuff and also for the league itself. I mean, it actually takes a lot of hours and
Yeah,
website
you would know.
crap, all that kind of thing. And so I know I speak for the rest of the guys to thank you for all your efforts and stuff like that. And
Oh,
yeah, it
that's
should be
awesome.
fun. We got a couple of fun weeks coming up, and may the best team win. And good luck to everybody.
Yeah. Before we go, and I'm glad I thought of it before we go, I meant to touch on it on when we were greeting you at first. Maybe tell a little bit about your Latvian background.
Oh, yikes. Well, I mean, you're talking about the
But you're
military
still a
stuff.
huge fan of Latvia's like Olympic teams and stuff like that. And you can even talk about your league, how we actually have owners in Renee's league that live in Latvia.
Well, my parents are from there, right? And my heritage is from there. And for those that don't know, Latvia is in Europe. It's in northern Europe, close to Sweden and Finland and the Baltic Sea and stuff like that. And I had a chance to go live over there for 6 years and things, so that was pretty cool. And big hockey nation. Maybe you watch
Yeah,
World
they're
Championships, stuff
huge.
like that. And
They're
it's
crazy.
they're
I
number
love
10
it.
in the world, and they've got the population of Vancouver Island or whatever it is
Yeah.
and stuff. I don't know, but I mean, pretty neat and a lot of fun players. And so yeah, it's always been a big part of my life and following the hockey players and stuff like that. So this year in particular, you're talking about COVID and stuff. We were going to go over it. The World Championships
Ah,
are in Latvia this year
that's
in
right
May.
too.
So we're gonna take some
Oh,
guys over and make a big trip and all that kind of fun stuff. And we got some guys over there and things. And obviously that's not going to work out. But yeah, so it's yeah, it's kind of a fun thing. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that.
well, I don't know how many of our people on this board follow the World Championships and stuff like that, but Latvians are basically known as the best hockey fans in the entire world. They're absolutely crazy at World Championships. They're dancing, they're singing, they're hooting and hollering and that. And I know the TSN broadcasters love Latvia for sure. They always talk highly of the fans. So yeah, it's just a little bit of a kind of a cool background
Yeah,
to.
the other thing about Latvia, Terry, which I would like to mention with the guys in the pool, is that with NATO, it's a NATO country, European
Yep.
Union, all that kind of stuff. And there's a Canadian contingent in Latvia that is there permanently right now. It's been there for about 5 or 6 years, with NATO and stuff like that, right, in northern Latvia. And it's been really obviously helpful and thankful and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So there's quite a few Canadians, and there were some of the Canadian military guys who are playing hockey with some of the Latvian
Yeah.
guys, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's been pretty good. So anyway, once again, thanks to the guys that are involved with that and stuff. It's really appreciated, and it's in where my parents are from and my heritage and all that. So thanks to all
Yeah.
you guys.
Thanks for the kind words, Renee. So, anyway, to wrap this up, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Pukitis. I think I'm doing this.
Terry Kenny.
No, not me. 3-time Cup champion. I want to thank you for coming out on the podcast tonight. I want everybody to take care. I hope everything works out for you in the playoffs, that you don't at least have too much bad luck go your way. So that's it for now for me and Renee. Take care, everybody, and peace out.